Writing. Welcome to Love X Revenge, where passion burns, secrets unravel, and every betrayal has a price. The wind howled across the empty stretch of road as the car screeched to a sudden stop beside a dimly lit gas station. The neon sign flickered weakly, casting broken shadows across the cracked concrete. Inside the car, silence pressed heavily between them. Aisha held her swollen belly, her fingers trembling slightly. 8 months pregnant, exhausted, and confused, she turned her gaze toward her husband. "Why are we stopping here?" she asked softly. Zion didn't look at her. His jaw tightened, his hands gripping the steering wheel as if it were the only thing keeping him grounded. "I need a break," he muttered. "You should get some air." Aisha hesitated. Something in his voice felt distant, cold, not the man who once whispered promises into her hair at night. Still, she opened the door and stepped out slowly, one hand supporting her back. The air was colder than she expected. She wrapped her shawl tighter around herself and walked a few steps away from the car. "Zion," she called gently, turning back. But before she could say another word, the engine roared to life. Her heart dropped. The car reversed sharply, tires crunching against gravel, and then sped away into the darkness. For a moment, Aisha didn't move. Her mind refused to accept what her eyes had just seen. "No," she whispered, her voice cracking. "No, no, no." She tried to run after the car, but her body wouldn't allow it. Pain shot through her legs, her breath turning uneven. She stopped, clutching her stomach, tears streaming down her face. "He left me." The realization hit like a storm. The man she had trusted. The man she had loved. The father of her child. He had abandoned her. At a remote gas station. Alone. The neon light buzzed above her as she sank onto a cold bench. The world felt unreal, like a nightmare she couldn't wake from. Hours passed. Cars came and went, but no one noticed her, just another forgotten soul in the night. Until one car finally stopped. It wasn't flashy, just an old SUV, dust-covered and worn. The driver stepped out. A man in his late 30s, rugged, with tired eyes that seemed to carry stories of their own. He noticed her immediately. A pregnant woman, alone, crying quietly under a broken light. He approached slowly, careful not to startle her. "Are you okay?" he asked. Aisha shook her head. "My husband, he left me," she managed to say. The man's expression darkened. "Left you," he repeated, disbelief lacing his voice. She nodded, unable to speak further. For a moment, he said nothing. Then he took off his jacket and draped it over her shoulders. "Come on," he said gently. "You can't stay here." She hesitated. Trust didn't come easily anymore. But something in his tone felt safe. "My name is Rihan," he added. "I'm not going to hurt you." After a long pause, she nodded weakly. Rihan helped her into the SUV, adjusting the seat so she'd be comfortable. "Where do you live?" he asked. Aisha swallowed. I don't know if I can go back." Rihan didn't press. He simply nodded. "Then you'll come with me. Just for tonight." The drive was quiet. Aisha stared out the window, her thoughts spiraling. Memories of Zion flooded her mind. The laughter, the love, the way he used to hold her hand. What changed? What did I do wrong? She wiped her tears, but they kept coming. Rihan's home was modest but warm. A small house on the outskirts of town, far from luxury but filled with a strange sense of peace. He helped her inside, guiding her to a couch. "I'll get you some tea," he said. Aisha nodded, her body finally giving into exhaustion. That night, she didn't sleep much. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the car driving away. Days turned into weeks. Rihan never asked too many questions. He gave her space, respect, and most importantly, kindness. He took her to doctor appointments, made sure she ate, and slowly, gently, helped her rebuild pieces of herself. Aisha learned that Rihan wasn't just an ordinary man. He had once been wealthy. A successful businessman who lost everything after being betrayed by his own partners. Since then, he had chosen a quieter life. "I know what it feels like to lose everything," he told her one evening. "That's why I couldn't leave you there." Aisha looked at him, something shifting in her heart. Not love. Not yet. But trust. Meanwhile, miles away at a luxurious seaside resort, Zion sipped his drink by the infinity pool. Laughter surrounded him. Wealth, beauty, distraction. But none of it filled the emptiness inside. He checked his phone. No messages. No calls. He told himself it was necessary. Aisha had become a burden. The pregnancy complicated things. His business deals, his image, everything was at stake. This was easier, cleaner. At least, that's what he kept telling himself. But at night, when the music faded and the lights dimmed, guilt crept in like a shadow he couldn't escape. He started drinking more, sleeping less. Her face haunted him. Months passed. Back in Rihan's home, the day finally came. Aisha went into labor. The storm outside mirrored the chaos within. Rain pounded against the windows as Rihan rushed her to the hospital. "Stay with me," he kept saying, his voice steady despite the panic in his eyes. Hours later, a baby's cry filled the room. A girl, beautiful, strong. Aisha held her daughter close, tears of joy streaming down her face. "She's perfect," she whispered. Rihan stood nearby, a soft smile on his lips. "You did it," he said. In that moment, something changed. Not just in Aisha, in both of them. Life had given them a second chance. And this time, they weren't going to waste it. 1 year later, Zion stood outside a modest house, his heart pounding. It had taken him months to find her. Regret had consumed him. Every day without her felt heavier than the last. He knocked on the door. When it opened, his breath caught. Aisha stood there, stronger, calmer, different, and in her arms, a child. His child. "Aisha," he whispered. She didn't smile. "What do you want?" "I made a mistake," he said quickly. "I was scared. You left me." She cut him off, her voice sharp. At 8 months pregnant, alone, he lowered his gaze. "I know, and I hate myself for it. Please, give me another chance." Before she could respond, a voice came from behind. "Is everything okay?" Rihan stepped forward, his presence steady and protective. Zion's eyes narrowed slightly. "Who is this?" Aisha looked at Rihan, then back at Zion. "This," she said quietly, "is the man who didn't leave me." Silence fell. Zion felt the weight of her words like a blow. "I'm her husband," he insisted. Aisha shook her head. "No," she said. "You were." The door began to close. "Wait," Zion pleaded. But it was too late. The door shut firmly, and with it, the last piece of his past. Inside, Aisha leaned against the door, her heart racing. Rihan placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "You okay?" he asked. She nodded, then looked down at her daughter. "I am now." Outside, Zion stood alone. For the first time in his life, all his money meant nothing. Because some things, once broken, can never be bought back. And some people, once lost, are gone forever.